Thanks for joining my channel. Tonight we're going to talk about breaking your fast. And that doesn't just mean breakfast. You can break your fast in the evening as well. But how you break it matters. So this is Break Fast with Dr. Tiffany. And yes, I know. It's not the morning time because you know what? When you break your fast, just as the first meal you actually choose to eat. So it doesn't really matter when that time is. For some people, it's going to be in the morning. And for some people, it's going to be in the evening. So, hello, I'm Dr. Tiffany Marie. I am a double board certified physician in family and lifestyle medicine, as well as a certified metabolic health coach. And I just wanted to get on here and talk about something that I know people are struggling with. I know some of you high performing professionals are doing everything right, still feel foggy, worn out, fatigued, and you don't know why. And some of it has to do with not knowing how to break your fast. So, let's talk about some things. Why does this matter? Yes, you can be fasting, getting yourself a gut reset, giving your insulin a break. Your pancreas doesn't have to release insulin because you literally are not eating. But what happens is when you flood your system with a bunch of carbohydrates or toxins like alcohol, you negate that whole response, that whole healing response that your body has been tapping into with that break in eating. It literally is just taking the time off from eating. In fact, another term for fasting is time restricted eating. Because you're just cutting your eating window into a smaller pocket to where it's not snacking and grazing all day. So who is this for? So people who are struggling with insulin resistance, they will find that taking a break from eating does a lot for them. And when I say insulin resistance, I'm sure a lot of people think they have a good idea on what that means. But I'm here to tell you it's more than just diabetes. 100% it is. 100% it is, okay? It has more to do with that. In fact, that's at the end of when you're dealing with insulin resistance. Way before then, you got a whole bunch of other things happening. And so you have so many people who are actually struggling with metabolic health conditions, and they don't even know why. They don't know why. Or let me tell you this one. So as a doctor practicing over 48 states doing telemedicine, I saw that so many people were struggling with their health, with their blood pressure, their sugar, their cholesterol, struggling with that weight around the middle that they've been dying to lose, decreasing calories and exercising is not going anywhere. Their mood, okay, their fatigue. So many people. Why? Why? And what is the common link? So when I was doing this, I said, okay, there's got to be something else. And I had a colleague who was board certified in lifestyle medicine, and I wanted to learn what that's about. Well, come to find out, lifestyle medicine is about going after the root causes of conditions, meaning not just giving medications or band-aids for symptoms. You have high blood pressure, here's a medicine for that. You have high sugar, here's a medicine for that. You have high cholesterol, here's a medicine for that. How about we actually get to the root problem? And the root problem is our lifestyle. And not because you're doing something bad. A lot of it has to do with misinformation. Yep, I'll be the first one to tell it. For 20 years, I was spreading some of that misinformation. I mean, look at the food pyramid. It just got flipped the right way up, right? Which is upside down. But for years, that pyramid was the driving force behind so many people struggling with their diabetes, their prediabetes, their blood pressure, because they were eating all those carbohydrates, and not just the carbohydrates, the processed ones. So we're in a time where it's not just that you're eating whole grains that you grew in your backyard. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's growing whole grains in their backyard. But what they're doing, they're actually eating these processed carbohydrates. And these processed carbohydrates were meant to be addictive. They were meant to be attractive to the eye, the color, how pretty the packaging is. Yeah, all those things. And so you end up eating more of them without even thinking about them. There's a reason why some of the slogans are literally, you can't eat just, right? Once you pop, you can't stop. That says something, right? Doesn't that say something to you? If that doesn't make your ears pop up, it should. And that's the whole problem. And so we have so many people that feel like they're addicted to those things, which is why when you tell them, okay, let's take a break from eating, that you get a pushback. So I had a patient one time, and bless her heart, I was looking at her labs like any family doctor would. And I was looking at her A1C, and it fell right into the diabetes range. We were no longer pre-diabetic. We were no longer in the normal range. We had moved right on into diabetes. It was like 6.5 or something. And I was like, okay, So from the lab, you have actually moved into type 2 diabetes. And the first thing she said to me was, good luck at thinking I'm going to stop eating these cookies and cakes and crackers and chips. And I was like, whoa, I wasn't even going that far yet. But because so many things have people feeling like they have to restrict so much that there's a fear. There's a fear of doing the lifestyle change. Or, if I'm talking to any of you and you've actually done one of these restrictive diets, or you've done keto, or you've done carnivore, or you are a vegan and you were doing these things, you had great results, but for some reason you fell off. For some reason you couldn't sustain it. And when those things stopped working because you weren't able to sustain them and keep them up, it started to feel like a loss. So in your mind, now you have this fear of failure. And so the next thing that comes up, you're like, that's not going to work for me. There's no point in me trying it. There's no point. You have that thought of failure sitting in your head, so you can't even win for yourself. And so it becomes, how do we help people get out of that fear mindset? So much so that when somebody says, okay, this is a problem, you don't immediately push back. Well, that means we have to make things accessible. We have to make things reachable. We have to give small goals to allow you to have small wins. But that also means that you have to wrap your mind around the fact that you're not going to lose 20 pounds in 5 days. Okay. Let's just be real. These unrealistic goals, that's what traps us and gets us into this failure mindset, because you're not going to reach that unrealistic goal. So now you're all stressed out because you didn't lose your 20 pounds in a week. Well, that's not how that was supposed to go. But it still feeds into that failure mindset and allows you to believe that this stuff doesn't work. No, we need to scale back and have realistic goals. So I kind of went off in a tangent because I was talking about breaking your fast, but not entirely, because when you are fasting, a lot of things you're staying away from are some of those foods you like to eat. And so doing things are going to make that easier is going to be the best way to break your fast, to end your fast, whether it be morning or evening. And, I wish I had a conversation to have people talk back, because that's more fun, but you got to start somewhere, right? What are the best ways to break your fast? So you want foods that aren't going to make your body go screaming for these foods that aren't helping you. So if you start your fast, break your fast with cookies and cakes and muffins, those are high in carbohydrates. Those are going to kick up your glucose. Those are going to allow your pancreas to release a lot of insulin. Okay, so now, and even the gut regeneration you started working on with your fasting, now that has to slow down. And don't put in an alcoholic drink in there. Oh no. Now your poor gut is like really struggling, right? So that wouldn't be the best way to break your fast. But when I say this, you're thinking, well, what am I supposed to eat for breakfast? What, cereal, oatmeal? Same thing. Those are high in carbohydrates. I mean, yes, getting some whole grain oatmeal, or not whole grain, what would be the other word? Rolled oats would be better, right? But still carbohydrates. We need to add some protein on that, okay? But if you're doing just carbohydrates to break your fast, boy, is that going to set things off. It's going to give you that huge glucose and insulin spike, and then you're going to get a subsequent drop. And that's going to lead to the lack in energy, okay? And lead to you wanting a snack a couple hours later. Okay, so what do you start? What do you break your fast with, right? Protein. Protein is great. Protein is great. One, because it kicks in those satiety hormones, that GLP-1, the CCK, those things allow us not to want to eat up the world. So it helps when you're trying to stabilize your glucose levels to have that stable energy. And then what else? Fiber, because fiber dampens the effect of any carbohydrates. So if you absolutely have to have some whole grains, I say whole grain carbohydrates, because that's better for us anyway. Not the processed stuff. The processed, ultra processed foods are not our friend. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care how cute the packaging is or how cute the face is on the packaging. That is not your friend. Little Debbie doesn't like you. So having the fiber dampens the effect, allows that glucose not to kick up so high, which is huge, okay? But not only that, it gives your gut the actual nutrients it needs. We need our gut working at its best. And the only way to do that is to feed our gut with the right fiber. Well, that kind of takes us eating the rainbow. Yeah, you heard me say that. And I'm not talking about the candy package. I'm talking about eating the rainbow, eating the different colors of the fiber. That's what actually gives our gut, the gut microbiome specifically, the trillions of bacteria in our gut, it gives them the right nutrients so they can do the job and break down the food that we intake. Get rid of the toxins, get rid of the harmful bacteria, viruses, so we have a normal, healthy balance in our gut microbiome. So you heard me say it. When you're breaking your fast, you want to focus on your protein, your fiber, your carbohydrates. If you absolutely have to have them, need to be whole grains, and they need to be last. They don't need to be first. And they always never need to be something ultra processed. And maybe when I come back, I'll explain a little bit more about ultra processed versus processed. But those little tidbits are huge. So I hope that makes sense. I really was getting on here just to play with the live to see how I would like it. So if this was helpful at all for anyone, go ahead and leave me something in the comments saying, yeah, I like those little helpful tidbits. And then I'll come back with something else. This was fun. You guys have a great night and break your fast the right way. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.